Hello everybody, today I'm going to be reading another Diary of Wimpy fanfiction. This one is called Seriously Uncool Brian, and it is a part of the Yogurtverse series, which essentially, if you guys don't know what it is a series of Wimpy fanfiction that fit into one universe. It's super cool, and there's a playlist on my channel where I've read almost all of them. This is actually the second last one, but yeah, I highly recommend you go check out those videos so you understand what's going on. They're super cool and some of my favorite to read. But yeah, this is actually the second last book in the series. It's called Seriously Uncool Brian, like I said before. And I actually was not planning to upload today, which is Wednesday for you guys watching in the future. But I did upload late on the weekend on Sunday instead of Saturday, so I decided to make it up to you guys with a nice, juicy upload. And yeah, so this one clocks in at almost 15 minutes, so yeah. And I will have another upload on Saturday as well. But if you guys love Wimpy Kid content and you're not yet subscribed, I really urge you to hit that subscribe button because I do read Wimpy Kid books on the weekly. And you know what? I'm going to make it much easier for you guys. I'll just put it this way. If you guys hate Manny Heffley and want to absolutely field goal, football kick, toe punt him across the room, then hit that subscribe button. And you know what? I'll say this. If you don't hate Manny, then don't subscribe because guess what? I don't want you here. Just kidding. Everybody do subscribe. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into Diary of Wimpy Kid Seriously Uncool Brian. Hope you guys enjoy. Wednesday. Ever since the whole Great Uncle Arthur debacle, I've been lucky enough not to have any more run-ins with the weirdos in my family. Well, until last week, when Aunt Veronica started chatting with me at random. Why, hello there, Gregory. How have you been? I'm actually glad I haven't asked for another phone, as I still haven't forgotten what happened the last time Aunt Veronica decided to surprise me. Though it's not like this is any better, as she always seems to get me while I'm playing Twisted Wizard online, and she's caused my 99% completion rate to drop to just 65. I thought she would have known not to interrupt me in the middle of a game, as she seems to be quite a bit of a gamer herself. Anyways, I thought things couldn't get any worse until history class, where I discovered we had a substitute teacher, and unfortunately it was someone else I'd be better off never seeing again. Why hello there, children, are you ready to learn about history? The most annoying part was the fact that we had history at the end of the day and Mr. Nern wouldn't let us go home. Instead, he proceeded to give us a lecture about something completely irrelevant. I'm not sure how many of you guys have heard of Cool Brian, but if you haven't, I'd like to tell you that it was founded around... I'm pretty sure you've guessed this by now, but we weren't studying Cool Brian prior to Mr. Nern's arrival. And if that wasn't enough, he actually made us do a presentation on the history of Cool Brian. I don't think his substitute teacher position actually allows him to do that, but at least he let us choose whatever partners we wanted. Alright, do we do this as seriously or assume he's powerless and just do something crazy? Normally I'd say we just focus on our grades, but I think you're right. Do you have any ideas? Luckily I found this video of Mr. Nern dancing like an idiot to an awful pop song, and I knew we had to put it in our presentation. But not long after I started playing the video, Aunt Veronica popped up again. Why hello, Gregory. I would have shut Aunt Veronica's window and returned to the video, but I didn't want to look bad in front of Holly, so I ended up letting her stay. Unfortunately. So Gregory, who's the lovely lady? Is she your girlfriend? How long have you been dating for? Is the rest of your extended family always like this? Between Great Uncle Arthur and Aunt Veronica, Holly's experience with my relatives has been less than stellar. And while Aunt Veronica isn't as interested in the lives of others as Great Uncle Arthur is, she was very keen on telling me everything that happened to her today. It was really tedious, and I was about to shut her up for good until I noticed a familiar-looking figure lurking behind her. So Holly, how is Greg as a boyfriend? Is he nice to you? How many dates have you been on? I was about to ask Aunt Veronica what she was doing with Mr. Nern, but she promptly told me she had to go and ended the chat. I guess I'll have to ask Mr. Nern about that the next time I see him. With Aunt Veronica gone, me and Holly got back to our project, but Mom barged in while we were watching the video of Mr. Nern dancing. What are you kids doing? That's not homework. We tried to reason with Mom, but despite our best attempts at it, there was no changing her minds. Actually, the substitute teacher gave us this to do even though he isn't allowed to make his own assignments. Oh yeah, and it's a joke assignment that's got nothing to do with what we're studying. Come on, let us have some fun. It doesn't matter if he's a substitute, you still have to treat him with respect. And Holly, don't encourage Greg. In the end, Holly decided to leave, but not before telling me that I could come over to her house tomorrow. It's a good thing she told me that because Mom then gave me a huge lecture on how substitute teachers deserve the same respect as regular teachers. I should have remembered that she is a substitute teacher herself. Thursday. I naively assumed that since Rowley doesn't have history with me and Holly, he wouldn't be subject to Mr. Nern and his lectures on Cool Brian. But as it turns out, I was very wrong about that. Mr. Nern is so weird. He gave us a lecture on Cool Brian and now he wants us to do a project on it. Did he make you two do the same thing? Admittedly, I wasn't that surprised when I heard that, but hearing Rowley mention Cool Brian reminded me of something I hadn't thought in ages and I had to ask him about it. Hang on a minute. Didn't your parents sign you up for that whole Cool Brian thing? What happened to those guys? Oh, them? My dad canceled the whole thing after he caught one of them smoking in front of our house. And that wasn't even the first time the Jeffersons did something like that. As Holly then told me they stopped hiring Heather as Rowley's babysitter after they caught her smoking in the house. I'm not entirely sure if Leland made for the best replacement, as he introduced Rowley and me to those weird Japanese cartoons, and some of them have truly questionable content. After school, me and Holly decided to continue working on Mr. Nern's project. Since I hadn't made any progress after getting busted, I thought I wouldn't see anything less related to Cool Brian. But I wasn't expecting this. Cool mentors for wholesome boys. Wait, no. Cool wholesome mentors for growing boys. The two guys then got out of the van and began discussing something very strange. I'm not quite sure what they were talking about, but I doubt it had anything to do with Cool Brian itself. Yeah, I promise I'll pick you up on time. I know the boss is ramping up deliveries, but I'll try to make it this time. In the end, I just brushed off the conversation off as two off-duty Cool Brians talking about something unimportant, and me and Holly spent the rest of the evening looking for embarrassing videos of Mr. Nern to stick in our project. Mr. Nern probably thinks he's talented, because we found a dozen videos of him singing, and he sings even worse than he dances. Never gonna give... I'm not singing that, I'm sorry, I have too much self-respect. While we were watching the videos, I came up with the great idea of hiding them behind several slides about Cool Brian to surprise everyone. I was pretty sure that almost no one took this project seriously, and that disguising hours would make it stand out even more. After we finished the project, I went home and I spent the rest of the evening playing Twisted Wizard Online. Amazingly, Aunt Veronica didn't pop up and I thought I got lucky until she appeared after a mission. At least I didn't die this time. Video chat from Aunt Veronica. Why did you tell those high school kids about Cool Brian? You do know they could rat you out. Well, okay, but how else are we going to make money? Those recruiting posters haven't done anything. I'm guessing that Aunt Veronica accidentally sent me a video chat, because I don't think she wants me to know that she's working with Mr. Nern on something. From what I could gather, Cool Brian was losing money, and Mr. Nern was trying to recruit employees at our school. Aunt Veronica argued with Mr. Nern for a few minutes before he disappeared, but when I tried to ask her what she was up to, she abruptly changed the topic. What were you and that man talking about? I think I've actually seen him before. Oh, don't mind that. Now tell me, Gregory, what have you been learning in school? I don't understand why Aunt Veronica still refuses to show up at family gatherings. Considering how nosy she's been lately, between that and her constantly denying she's doing something with Mr. Nern, I wonder what she's up to. Friday. Our presentations were due today, and just as I thought, no one was taking the assignment seriously. Hey, Mr. Nern. Oh, it's a comic by that one menace to society. Hey, Mr. Nern, you pooped your pants again. Nuh-uh. Yeah-huh. Stink lines from the poop. That's a classic. Only OGs remember that one. The presentations range from satirical comics to Mr. Nern being accused of being an awful child. I can't say that on YouTube. And believe me, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually was one. Flashback to the "would you like to be my friend" incident. I was so busy laughing at the presentations that I didn't notice Mr. Nern sitting at the back of the room. I thought he was one of those people who enjoyed laughing at embarrassing videos of themselves, but I found out that he wasn't while me and Holly were presenting. I thought Mr. Nern was going to give us both attentions, but he came up with an arguably worse punishment. You kids don't know how to respect Cool Brian. That's it. You all will be working for Cool Brian for the next week. Yep, that's what happens, Greg. If you don't follow the teacher's rules, let this be a lesson to all of you. You'll be forced to live in child labor. Quote that. Quote me on that. Once again, I don't think Mr. Nern actually is allowed to do this, but he seemingly forced every student who attended the class he taught to join Cool Brian. Mr. Nern abruptly canceled our project and he's forcing us to apply for Cool Brian. Do you know what happened? I'm not sure how fast rumors have spread around school, but I know I have to do something about this because sooner or later, someone will realize I was in the class that caused this whole debacle to happen, and I'm not sure if I could live with that. When I got home, I decided the best way to solve this whole problem was to reason with Aunt Veronica, as she seems to be doing something with Mr. Nern. Since she keeps pretending that he doesn't exist, I thought showing up unannounced at her house would work. After stealing Mom's address book, I discovered that she lives within walking distance of our house, which does make me wonder why I never see her around. Saturday. I wasn't expecting Aunt Veronica to answer the door, and I was pretty surprised when she let me in. "Hello, Gregory. Why didn't you come in and have a seat?" Aunt Veronica's house was actually pretty nice inside, which shocked me since all her video chats took place in a room that was completely trashed. I hadn't ruled out the fact that the room could be hidden somewhere in the house, but Aunt Veronica was hovering over me, which prevented me from sneaking off. Luckily, I found a way to deal with that. "Would you like to try some of my special homemade cookies?" Can I just go to the bathroom first? I grabbed the phone on my way to the bathroom because, let's face it, 3 sets of eyes are better than 1. Alright, I think I found a way to deal with Mr. Nern's punishment. Can you come over to 149 Wright Street as soon as possible? I wasn't sure if the room was actually in Aunt Veronica's house, but I was crossing my fingers because I had no idea where to find Mr. Nern's place, assuming he had one. After Rowley and Holly arrived, Aunt Veronica instantly started asking Holly about what having me as a boyfriend was like, which allowed me and Rowley to explore the house under the guise of getting a snack. We started off in the kitchen, and believe it or not, but we found the room from Aunt Veronica's video calls. I wasn't sure why the kitchen was trashed while the rest of the house was pretty clean, but it definitely looked like Mr. Nern had been doing something in there. I was about to rejoin Holly until I spotted a box of drummies on the counter and decided to heat it up. Then I discovered there was something else in there. What the... I checked a few more boxes in the kitchen, and they were all full of these funky-smelling chunks of asphalt. I found all of this pretty sketchy, but that was nothing compared to Aunt Veronica's special cookies. Don't even think about eating these cookies. Look what they did to your aunt. I thought those cookies smelled funny, and now had proof that something wasn't right with them. Bro, his aunt is off a perk 30 right now. Why is she eating them like that? After seeing what was in the kitchen, I wouldn't want to eat anything from Aunt Veronica's house. With Aunt Veronica out of commission, I had no idea what to do next, but Rowley must have been worried about her as he actually called 911 while I wasn't looking. "Yeah, I'm at 149 Wright Street and something's wrong with the homeowner." Aunt Veronica didn't react at all to Rowley's phone call, probably because she was still devouring her quote-unquote special cookies. Bro, she's off the Zaza for sure. Just as she was about to clean the plate, I heard a commotion going on outside and I couldn't believe what I saw. "What's going on here, officers?" "Sir, we've received a report of a drug user here. Is this your property?" Mr. Nern denied having anything to do with the house, and that was enough for the cops to let him go. They then interrogated all of us and arrested Aunt Veronica after discovering that her kitchen was full of drugs. They told us she'd been smuggling black tar heroin, which was both illegal and dangerous. I never knew why Aunt Veronica never showed up at family gatherings despite seeming quite interested in what was going on, but I never would have expected her to be involved in, well, this. Meanwhile, Mr. Nern had used the interrogation time to run off, but luckily for us, another Cool Brian van passed by Aunt Veronica's house as the cops let her out. Mr. Nern must have thought calling up other Cool Brians to serve as a diversion would help him get away, but that guy was driving pretty recklessly, and that was enough for the police to give pursuit. I don't know how many Cool Brians he summoned, but I saw at least 3 of them being chased by the cops after leaving Aunt Veronica's. After that whole ordeal, I decided to invite Rowley and Holly to play video games. I wasn't sure if Mr. Nern's new Cool Brian assignment had been called off yet, and thought we might as well make the most of the weekend. I shouldn't have worried about that though, as I later learned that Mr. Nern got caught and arrested. According to the news report, Cool Brian was an organization devoted to smuggling black tar heroin, and Mr. Nern was behind the whole thing. They even showed his testimony, which explained all the weird stuff we did within the past week. "Mr. Nern, we've heard that several Crossland students are accusing you of forcing them to work for Cool Brian. Can you elaborate on this? Are you trying to say that's bad? We've been losing workers left and right. Business is hotter than ever, and we need more help." Guys, that's right. Go get a job today so you don't have to deal black tar heroin. Quote me on that. That's the moral of the story. Apparently, most of the Cool Brians were addicted to black tar heroin themselves, which makes me glad that Riley's parents got rid of them early on. I mean, who knows what would have happened if they were still seeing him. I also learned that Aunt Veronica had been helping Mr. Nern smuggle drugs, which didn't surprise me after everything I had seen. And just in case my day couldn't get any better, I got an email from our history teacher, Mr. Greenfield, telling us that the Cool Brian work thing got cancelled and Mr. Nern's project would not be a part of our final grade. Then I went downstairs and I got reminded of someone I totally forgot about thanks to Mr. Nern and Aunt Veronica. "Mrs. Heffley, we found your son in your sister Veronica's house." I guess you can't have everything in life, but at least I've got Aunt Veronica and Mr. Nern off my back. Bro, I'm so sad. Why did Manny have to come back? Anyway, that's the end of the story. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. You know what? Maybe 10K is a bit high by the end of the year. I think we could honestly do it. But, I'm going to just say, let's just get to at least 5K subscribers. Because I truly believe there's 5K people out there who love Wimpy Kid. Do you love Greg Heffley? Do you love Rowley Jefferson? Do you hate Manny? Do you love Roderick? Then hit the subscribe button. That's all I got to say. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what I should read next. There should be another upload going up on Saturday. This is just another, like I said earlier, an extra upload since I did not upload on Saturday, and I got a late upload on Sunday still. But yeah, anyway, yeah, peace out. Bye.